Right now, the most dramatic, most 精彩 event on American social media is going down between two of Twitch's biggest streamers. Put it simply, a female streamer has accused her ex-boyfriend, who is also a streamer, of IPVNSA. Which begs the question, will this be the 网红版本 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard? And will another streamer end up in jail?
Maybe?
Well, put on your jury hats and 准备的爆米花 because we are gonna go deep into this one. 真的是代志大条。Now, usually on this channel, when we go over some 网红 drama, I usually introduce their backgrounds and give you some idea of who they are. However, this time, I'm going to try something a little different, because we're in jury mode now. I'm going to go through step by step of exactly what happened, without most of you having no idea who these people are, helping you to maintain as little bias as possible. And then through their accusations, receipts, and arguments, I'm going to let you decide at the end, 到底谁是坏人?
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. For the entirety of this year, I have attempted to separate myself from him and not talk about him at all, and not talk about this issue, and just not make it a public thing. I always tried my best to keep this to myself, but like I said, I feel like it's gone to the point, which I'll explain later, that I feel like it just has to be done.
IPV, assault, stalking, harassment, and blackmail threats. 这个听起来蛮糟糕的. And these are some very serious accusations. If she can present evidence and prove it in court, 这个白人就代志大条咯.
You're in trouble now.
But here's the thing. The allegations she's making took place 3 years ago back in 2022, which begs the question, why is she only now coming forward?
The first and probably most severe reason is that one of the rules that I set for myself a long time ago about withholding this information was that if I ever felt like somebody else was in danger or being hurt, I would then make myself speak about it. And 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago now, I was informed by 3 separate people, one of whom was present for said incident, that he had done something similar to something that he had done to me, and to someone in LA at the end of September. And this person is not a streamer or content creator, but obviously that does not matter. And because of this, I cannot in good conscience sit here knowing that I know critical information about someone that almost no one else does and not say anything. I think that most issues and dramas should stay private and off the internet, and I still hold that belief to this day, and I will hold that belief going forward. However, there are certain things that cross the line, and I say that the line has been crossed too many times to be count. There's a point where I believe that people deserve to know. I think that at a certain point, if you know a lot of things about someone and you don't say anything to look out for others, it's wrong.
I don't know about you, but her explanation sounds pretty reasonable to me. That's like catching food poisoning and being sick for 10 whole days. The last thing you want is for other people to eat the same food and suffer the same fate, so you'll definitely warn them not to eat it.
Don't you do it! Don't!
But her waiting 3 years to speak up kinda hurts her case.
And an honorable mention reason for why I'm doing this is that for a while, he has been indirectly threatening me through my friends and people that I work with. They've informed me that he said that if I ever talked about anything he did, he would try to create a smear campaign against me in retaliation. I was told that he even approached other streamers who were close with us back when we lived together, asking them if they would join with him, and they all refused. At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them and saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me.
Yep.
Multiple people have told me that his plan was to claim that I kill animals and that I killed my own rabbits, since I had several of my rabbits pass away over the course of 3 years while I lived with him. I'm sure he's probably listening now, and it's probably going to come as quite a shock to him that this information made its way back to me and that I've known for months. But if you try to threaten me to stay quiet, especially using my poor animals, I'm not going to stay quiet.
And this is where things get really threatening. This fool threatened her employees and then attempted to corral other fellow streamers to collectively destroy Emiru.
You bitch!
If that's what actually went down, then all the streamers who rejected old boy can now be called as witnesses. And I'm inclined to believe Emiru as she's naming names. But then there's the part about the rabbits, and Mizkif is seemingly bringing his own receipts.
Emiru has a lot of rabbits. It was her calling when she first moved in. These were a big part of her life. But as those rabbits moved out of her room and into the living room, they started to see disgusting neglect. No food, no water, sometimes not having clean bedding for weeks. I, along with many others who would come over, would give them what they needed, and I would tell her all the time to take care of them, but to no avail. She completely neglected those rabbits, so much that many of them just died over 1 year of being around in my house. My cleaning ladies would clean them just because they felt terrible, and my brother once came over and said, and I quote, "If you ever marry this woman, I'll never forgive you." Here is a video up close of Emiru's rabbits. These are small little mites that are inside the rabbit cage, and she didn't care. She completely neglected these animals, and I'm not going to sit around and let people say that she didn't. People who came to my house knew that they were neglected. This is an up-close view of the rabbit cage being completely disgusting and neglected. She left them to die, and I'm not going to sit here and have her pretend she didn't. It's disgusting.
Yo, not knowing how to care for rabbits versus mistreating them versus being a 小白兔杀手 are completely different matters. Homegirl might be lazy or even a bit neglectful, but I'm not sure if that qualifies as animal abuse. Not only that, but bruh, folks are out here levying IPV and SA allegations, and your response is to call her a 小白兔杀手.
Not a great plan.
He initially portrayed himself to me as someone who was very nice to girls and wanted to help me feel safe from stalkers, and wanted me to succeed as a teammate, and we grew very close over time, and I was very dependent on him for feelings of safety, social life, like my stream, my job, everything. So yeah, besides it being a very codependent relationship, the start of it was fine. I saw a lot of people mentioning this. They thought this was what I was going to talk about. It's not a secret. I think everyone who paid attention knew that he was very controlling over what I wore, to a degree, who I was friends with, and even when I would stream.
Yep.
So, when it was definitely slow over time that bad things started happening.
Now this part also kind of makes sense. Mizkif tried to attract women through his talents, his fame, and his social proof. And at the beginning, he was all gentlemanly and shit with a little bit of controlling behavior until ultimately things got a little bit worse. A very typical story of the talk outside and horrible ex-boyfriend that we've all heard at least once in our lives.
At the start, it would be things like, for example, he would throw bottles, like plastic bottles with liquid in it, not like glass bottles, at me, despite me telling him like I didn't like it and it scared me and I bruised very easily. He would throw his phone at me. I would tell him, you know, it scared me, I don't like it. And one time it even the eye, which caused me to get a black eye, but he always, you know, was like, oh, it's an accident. And I was like, oh yeah, it's an accident. Like, you know, of course I'm not gonna think that, you know, he's, yeah, I just...
This is the beginning, by the way.
At the time, I just kind of was, you know, I just brushed it off, and looking back now, I feel like that was kind of the start of him testing my boundaries, if that makes sense.
Now, I'm guessing that quite a few of you watching have encountered this type of partner at least once. Someone who's physically roughed and shows disrespect through their actions, like throwing things at the wall or even throwing things at you. Maybe some pushing or some borderline punching, and always disrespecting you verbally in public. And for those of you who are oh so fortunate or too young or just starting out in the dating world to have experienced this yet, once you do, no matter how sweet their words, no matter how great they may make you feel in bed, run for your goddamn life. Because every single thing that comes out of their mouth is complete and utter bullshit. Block them online, block them on social media, block them everywhere. Take it from someone who's been there. It ain't worth it.
A lot of stuff was happening, but the bad behavior was ramping up, and I feel like it's so apparent if like, you know, you go back and watch anything from that time. I tried so hard to help him and be there for him because I really believed in him and I wanted him to, you know, get better and get back on his feet and be the person that, you know, I always believed that he was. But that unfortunately did not really happen. For a long time, I think about a year and a half from when that all happened, it was kind of like slow things getting worse, but I mean, honestly, I'm not even gonna bother going into the details of all of that because there's just too much to cover.
Now this is a little weird, yo. She accused him of IPV, but only mentioned getting bruises from him chucking a phone at her. No other examples other than things got worse and she didn't want to really talk about it anymore. 老实说，有一点奇怪哦, because what I've heard so far just sounds like Mizkif is a slight POS who doesn't respect women. But so far, I don't see anything that really qualifies as IPV. Until the internet dug up some receipts of him and his other ex-girlfriend.
Mizkif's abusive pattern of throwing objects, reckless driving, intimidation, manipulation, and violence goes back years.
No. Maya unimpressed. That's what that was.
2 Starbucks bags of Starbucks I got you over the past 2 days.
Oh my god.
She's literally on stream, and I know this might be bad faith, but imagine this was off stream. Mizkif pulls off Maya's headphones, throws them on the floor after coming in 3rd place.
Second loser.
Matt, if you broke that headset, you are DMing Shroud right now.
Back in the day, people probably played this off as like clip farming or something, but with like further context, he really does look pretty abusive, no?
I gotta say, this kind of behavior would drive anyone insane. This is the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen. And it happened live on stream. Imagine what might be happening behind closed doors when no cameras are on, which makes everyone ask the very obvious question, what other IPV incidents happened that we don't know about? Let's see how old boy responds.
The first year of our relationship, we almost had no fights. We started to date officially in January of 2022, and up until my cancellation, everything was perfect. She brushed over that I threw water bottles or my phone near her, but that wasn't during fights. I want to make that very clear. It would be me throwing my phone on my bed when I brushed my teeth. She did tell me she got a bruise from it, and I stopped. That's all that happened. I will throw you and show you an example, chat. I'm brushing my teeth. Right here. Look at me. I would throw my phone on the bed. I would just lob it over because I was going to bed. So I would just throw the phone. That's it. And when that's the whole thing. I didn't throw it at her. I want to make that very clear. I never threw it at her. I never hit her. And she even said in her situation that she bruises easily. She brushed over that I threw water bottles with her on my phone near her, but that wasn't during our fights. It would be throwing my phone on my bed when I brushed my teeth. She did tell me she got bruises from it, and I stopped. That's all that happened.
Yo, he didn't hoodie, yo. No hint of IPV to me. More like aggro behavior in daily life. After all, Emiru didn't seek medical attention for injuries and didn't even call the police. So throwing the IPV accusation out there seems pretty weak. Until...
Basically, Mizkif ended his stream because he had lower viewership, and his chatters joined Emiru's stream, while he was messaging her that he wanted to zap himself.
Messaging her while she's live.
All acting. Like we haven't pillaged.
You hear it? You see her trying to keep it together. He's slamming the door.
Go to the restroom real quick.
I'm stuck in here. Okay.
So just scared, yeah.
I actually downloaded her VOD and confirmed how she left for 20 minutes, then came back completely overwhelmed because that schizo was spamming her, saying he wanted to kill himself while punching her door, all because she had higher viewership.
But alright, yeah, I'm gonna log out for now, but I'll probably come back later.
This is when she stopped.
And if not, tomorrow my normal time.
Which she didn't do. Yeah, I actually kept going back and forth, slamming the door because you didn't get big enough for that. Yeah. Man.
Like we haven't pillaged.
Shoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a clear case of IPV of the psychological variety. Who in the hell could tolerate their partner banging on the walls and door while you're in the middle of work and threatening self-deletion for attention? That would give just about anyone a little bit of PTSD or a minimum emotional stress. So for me, this is 100% IPV of the psychological order, because this goes beyond just chucking phones like Emiru said.
And at the time, he also would more often do things like going, like if we were driving in the car together, he would be going like
super fast,
150 miles an hour. And like one time he even said like, well, now we're both gonna die. like threatening to kill us. And this wasn't like even necessarily because of me or like because of something I did a lot of the time. Like one of the times that it happened, it was because we were just getting food and he was on his phone and he saw that Mr. Beast had put out a video and Mr. Beast had invited another streamer and he was like, oh, Mr. Beast invited this guy to his video, not me. And I was like, oh, well, you know, like, huh? Yeah, I guess so. Which led to him
almost killing them.
miles per hour in the car.
Almost killing them.
Himself while doing it.
Now, the way I see it in this situation, it is 100% psychological IPV. And I'm willing to believe it because it's more than one person who's saying the same thing.
Anyway, there's something about being
with
an angry aggro man that is like the absolute most helpless thing. Dude, I did a guy that would go like 100 miles an hour on the, like we would fight in the car, which was never my decision. Like it just always like happened. Like we just would like fight in the car and then he'd go like 100 and I would like literally like beg him to slow down. I'd be so scared and I'd cry.
Who could it be? Nobody knows.
And then he would not slow down until I apologized.
Wow.
Uh-oh. So then I started driving only. Like I wouldn't let him drive me anywhere. But then if we'd get in a fight while I was driving, he would like pound my ceiling in my glove box. He would like scream and like hit the ceiling and
like Donkey Kong? That's what Donkey Kong does.
Now, although she doesn't say his name outright, it is very obvious who she's talking about because she's describing the exact same characteristics as what Mizkif did to Emiru.
Did you really drive 150 miles an hour? I'm gonna say this very clear. If you know me in Austin, Texas, I drive fast everywhere. I drive fast literally everywhere. I'm in an Audi R8 in Austin, Texas where the freeways are open. I drive fast all the time. I remember one time when she was picking me up from the airport and she was in her blue Corvette and she started the speed when we were on a straightaway when she was getting mad and she stayed quiet. I don't remember the exact speed she got up to, but we were definitely flying. But I'll say this, I have no problem admitting fault. The person that I was during that relationship, and I would say the Mizkif in Austin, Texas is fucking disgusting. I hated myself. I hated this person that just sat there all day, stressed and angry and mad at the world. I hated being this upset person because I know you are who you hang out with. And I definitely changed Emmy in a lot of ways and made her very stressed as well. And mentally, the situations we were in, it just cataclysm both of us. I was a very toxic person and I knew I needed to get out, so I broke up with her.
Nigga, you could have just apologized. Since you can admit that you're emotionally unstable, why do you need to counterattack by calling her a 小白兔杀手 and make that unconvincing as argument like,
他也很糟糕啦，我们两个都很糟糕啊。
Yes, I can definitely smell shite.
I'm ashamed that the situations got so bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression.
Nigga, she was throwing plushies and clothes, not teacups and plates, yo. Now, I know everyone's got a different threshold, but to me, throwing a plushie is yo din kaayo. That shit my 1-year-old son does to me whenever he gets mad because I won't give him his pacifier. Now, does that make the little Xiao Pi violent? Nah, bro, it just makes him a little bit emotionally unstable because the nigga is 1. But my guy, you were slamming doors and breaking walls and breaking. That's like comparing Pikachu to Godzilla. Ta很多呢.
A week after this breakup, he asked to come over to my house and talk for closure. He came to my house and I was crying like crazy because the emotions were just very high because I was dealing with a lot of major shifts in my life as a result of me attempting to start to try to distance myself from him. So yeah, we were just talking and I was crying a lot. He started to try to comfort me by hugging me while I was sitting on the couch and holding me really close to him. And when this was happening, we hadn't talked in quite a while, and I'm usually very uncomfortable with being touched a lot by people that I'm not in a relationship with. But I let him hold me while I was crying. and he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I was still sobbing a lot. And then, suddenly, he tried to on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my face. And, I screamed. Yeah. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat, And, instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said, "I feel weird now. I feel like I did something wrong. I have to go." And he immediately left my house while I was still crying without, checking if I was okay or anything.
And now for the most serious part of all the accusations, the IPV assault part. Now, there might be quite a few of you who don't know how things have evolved over the past 15 years, and you need to know something known as consent.
May I touch your face?
Some of you from the olden days might think that if a guy stops once a girl screams, that it's all good. That's like stopping at a red light. No harm, no foul. Toiba. Well, newsflash, modern day society has changed a lot, especially in the West. You've got to get consent for everything, from touching to kissing to holding to even hugging.
May I touch your nipple?
And that means for every movement your hand makes towards a woman, you need a green light first. In modern society, everything is presumed to be a red light by default. Now, I know some of you who might be a little bit older remember back in the days when everything was green until there was a red. Shit, even a lot of women thought it was that way. But right now, so whether this is assault or not, that's for the courts to decide. What's for damn sure is this guy needs more than just a lawyer. This nigga needs some help. Psychiatrical help. This fool is 100% emotionally unstable cyanide. But whether or not he's a criminal, that's for the law to decide. And for those of you who are new to the dating world or are getting back out there to try again, remember, stop at red until that shit turns green. Otherwise,
And now we know what to do next time.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!